Hello, thank you for joining me today. Well, this is the Monday, November 4th edition of our video devotionals. Thank you so much for joining us today. Hope your weekend and Sunday was great. We actually had two great services yesterday at church. Had some folks there that hadn't seen in a while, had a visiting lady, had some people that have been visiting that have been coming on a regular basis. So it was good. And I believe when I preached, as I used to hear preachers say, I had liberty to preach, and I felt like I had liberty to preach. I felt like it was helpful. And we certainly wanted to glorify God, honor, and worship Him. So I felt like it was that way yesterday, and hopefully that was the way it was where you attend. But all that to say, today's Monday. It is the first day of the work week and the school week. It'll be the first complete week of the month of November, so time is rolling on. But this is an important week. We're going to talk a little bit about that here in just a moment. Look in your Bibles to John chapter 1. I think we're going to begin in verse number 19 and read down to verse number 23, 19 through 23. Find that if you will. And I don't know if this was kind of going to start a little theme. I may make a theme out of what I'm going to talk about today. We'll see. But otherwise, thank you for watching, and thank you for our interactions, the acknowledgments of watching. And if it's helpful, then we're glad about that, okay? All right, so notice here in John chapter 1, verse 19, it says, "And this is the record of John, when the Jews sent priests and Levites from Jerusalem to ask him, 'Who art thou?' And he confessed and denied not, but confessed, 'I am not the Christ.' And they asked him, 'What then? Art thou Elias?' And he saith, 'I am not.' 'Art thou that prophet?' And he answered, 'No.' Then said they unto him, 'Who art thou? That we may give an answer to them that sent us. What sayest thou of thyself?'" Last verse 23. He said, "I am the voice of one crying in the wilderness, make straight the way of the Lord, as said the prophet Isaiah." And we know that is the prophet Isaiah. Now, very simple here. Tomorrow is election day. And tomorrow we're going to vote all the way from the top for president, vice president, and then different states are going to vote for their governor. In the state of North Carolina, we're going to do that, governor, lieutenant governor. And then you've got the local races and all that, as we call them. And it all depends on, where you live and all that. You understand that. So the idea then about voting, all right, well, we could separate ourselves as a Christian, just kind of put that to the side. Not saying you're supposed to do that, but I'm saying put that to the side and then look at yourself as a citizen of the United States of America, all right? I still believe it's one of the greatest things in all the world to be able to vote. We vote for our leaders. We vote for the representatives. We live in a democratic republic, I think they call it. The point is all this. You do have a voice. And John said, "Here's who I am. I'm the voice of one crying in the wilderness." And of course, that was prophesied from the book of Isaiah. I don't know how much exactly John understood his role, but I know this. He says, I am one and I have a voice. And that's what you and I are. We are one and we have a voice. And obviously, John had been called to do what God wanted him to do. And I think when it comes to voting, we should do and vote for the people that we should obviously vote for, the things that would be the best and all of that. So you've heard all the arguments and all the compelling speeches about why you should vote. And then, of course, you hear people say why they're not going to vote. But I know this, you have a voice, and thank God in America you still have that. And you ought to use it, is what I'm saying. John used his voice. He used it properly, rightly, and responsibly. And I think we should do the same. So I'm just asking you as a citizen of the United States and as a Christian to let your voice be heard wherever you can and whatever place that you vote. And you say, "I've already voted." Great, good for you, and I'm glad. Been a lot of early voting. Tomorrow, Christy and I will go to our local precinct. We live in Randolph County, North Carolina, and we got things that's just specific to our county, and then certainly specific to the state and certainly to the country. All that to say, you know what? You can say, "I'm going to be silent. I'm not going to do anything." All right, that's fine. And you know how they say, okay, so your voice is not going to be heard either way. Let your voice be heard. And if that voice is a voice that's leading and helping more for the right than not, then you know that. So I'm not going to sit here and beat you up, make you feel guilty. I could say it, and I know how I feel about it, but I think you ought to let your voice be heard. In general, you go through life, well, I'm not going to say anything to anybody. Just sit around and just kind of blend in or be the fly on the wall, and that way I won't have to worry about what anybody thinks about me. Let me tell you something. Some of the worst things happens in life because people do nothing. They're apathetic. There's a word. They're just silent, and they just let things happen. I think your voice should be heard. John says, I'm going to use my voice. Indeed, he did, and that was proper and right. He was the voice of one. And you know what? You're the voice of one. So use that voice today, if you will, tomorrow. Use it today even. I mean, you can use it for good or bad, but certainly use it for good. But tomorrow you have a chance to let your voice be heard when it comes at the ballot box. And I'm asking you to do that. And you say, man, I've prayed about it. God told me not to do it. Well, then there you go. If that's what he's done, then I'm not going to argue with that at all. But I know this. If you do pray about it and you ask God about what you need to do and who, I think he'll certainly guide you that way, right? You got a voice. You're the voice of one. Let's use it, okay? Great day, safe day, healthy day. It is almost the end of the day. I know that. Otherwise, Lord willing, we'll see you tomorrow, and I appreciate you watching.